in CS. And now I am at UC Berkeley doing my PhD. And my favorite Tibetan song would be the Ningdula song. I don't actually know the name if that's the correct one, but yeah.
Hi, I'm Tenzin Lama, and my pronouns are she, her. I go to USC in LA, and my favorite Tibetan song, and my major is philosophy, politics, and law, and my favorite Tibetan song is probably Milam by Pujung. So,
Awesome. I think that's everyone. But welcome to our panel and more about like how this is gonna run. It's going to be moderator or it's gonna be the panel obviously, and then a Q&A, and then an announcement about an exciting project that or an exciting opportunity that we have coming up soon. So yeah, if we could get started, and we'll just go around on whoever wants to speak on this or feels they want to share their story the most on this question. But the first question is, what drew you to your college and what made you stay? And I'll put that in the chat.
I would definitely say financial aid, 100%. But I also always knew that I wanted to attend a small liberal arts school. And I personally like learn or like thrive off of like smaller learning environments. Like the classroom average at Smith is like 15 students. So it's like definitely something I need personally as a learner. And also I also always knew I wanted to go to an HWC, like a women's college. So yeah, but 100% I would say the financial aid, like they're need-based. So and recently they got rid of like their loan package on financial aid. So it's been definitely one thing that's been keeping me here. And also I think another one that I definitely looked out for, like when looking for colleges, especially I wanted to go off, I wanted to leave home and be away from home. Oh my God. 1 second. Sorry, someone knocked. What was I gonna say? I definitely also thought of like the kind of environment I would be in and how comfortable I would be in that environment. And I live on a beautiful campus and it makes me happy, and I love the people there, and it's a very tight-knit community. So that's definitely another thing to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry. And the financial aid piece is really important in terms of like considering like one, where you can see yourself most as a college student, but also what makes the most financial sense for your family. And yeah, who wanted to go next? Sorry, I think I cut you off.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say like I have very similar like sentiments with choosing USC just because I am from New York, so it would have been a big move for me. And so I did have like the option to go to a school that was much closer and had similar financial aid packages, but I think it also came down to like the program that I got accepted into. Because USC also has like a thematic option honors program where it's like much smaller learning environment, much more focused on like reading, writing curriculum. And I think like as someone who's kind of set on going to law school in the future, like I knew that I needed an emphasis on like writing skills and reading. And so I felt like the program was pretty well tailored to meet like my future endeavors. And I think like what made me stay is definitely the community at USC. I think like going to high school is predominantly white, and I'm not saying that it's not the same here, but there's a lot more diversity, I think, at my current university. And especially within the Asian community. So it feels a lot more welcoming, a lot more familiar to me, even if I am so far from home. So that's definitely helped me not get so homesick.
For me, I think what drew me to MIT was, it's really weird, but one of my seniors on my robotics team in high school, she she like was gonna do CS. So when I was applying, I asked her like, oh, like how did you pick schools and like what was your like criterion? Because I also wanted to do CS, it was pretty set. Um, so she was like, yeah, I just Googled like the top 100 schools for CS and picked like a couple off the list. And so I did the same thing, and like MIT was pretty much like close to the top. So I guess that was like what uh, drew me there first. But I think what made me stay, I think, is like the environment and I guess the quality of classes and the education that I was getting. Um, and yeah, yeah.
What drew me to my college? So I go to Emory, and I knew that Emory had this relationship with the Dalai Lama, that my dad wouldn't stop talking about. So he was telling me all the time to apply to Emory, apply to Emory. And at first I wasn't gonna apply, but then I talked with the admissions counselor and he convinced me to apply. And I applied and I got in. And I was a little disappointed when I got here because my freshman year was COVID and everything was shut down when I came here. So there was no Tibetan stuff, like the Dalai Lama thing or anymore because he didn't visit Emory because of his age. But I remember when I first got here, I got a immediate email from like one of the Tibetan faculty and connected me with like the rest of the Tibetan community. And I guess that's like one reason why like I stayed. It's just that like the Tibetan community here is very tight knit. Like everyone looks out for each other. There's like 50 Tibetan people in Atlanta, but they always invite us to like their birthday parties or like Losar, and there's like a little monastery here. So that's nice to have the community here. And there are some Tibetan faculty that like teach Tibetan history and the Tibetan language as well that are super chill. Um, and I guess that's mainly why I stayed. But other than that, like the school does have a very good academics. Um, I think I'm mainly staying now because of the interactiveness that clubs provide here. The clubs, there are like so many different clubs that you can get into, and you can become like really dedicated in them, and you'll meet other people who are super dedicated about their clubs. Um, and I think that's why I'm staying. So, uh, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And then our last panelist is here. Her name is Gisung, and I will put the prompts in the chat. And yeah, feel free to introduce yourself. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
Okay, my name is Kyosang. My pronouns are she, her. I go to Stony Brook University in Long Island, and my major is biology. And my favorite Tibetan songs probably probably Hwasa Nights by Chungcho Doma. Yeah. And do you just need me to answer like the question sent to me?
Oh, so yes, what we were just talking about is or I'm sorry, what drew you to your college and what's making you stay?
Okay, so throughout high school, I've always heard of Stony Brook University because it was like nearby, at least the city, and a lot of people went there. And when I was applying, I applied to like a lot of different schools, and I made sure to apply to Stony Brook because I thought it was like a good idea for like my major, and I want to be pre-med, and I feel like a lot of students here, like a lot of the students here study biology. So when I got here, I found like a surprisingly like support like filled and like tight knit like STEM community. Like everyone here helps each other academically, and it's like also what like Lama said, like the Asian community here is like a big factor as to why I decided to stay because um I knew I wouldn't want to go somewhere where demographic was like minority Asian. I feel like being a part of the community and feeling like in place like affects like how I would perform academically or like mentally. And like coming to Stony Brook, it just felt like going to school in the city again to me. And also like that was an important factor. And I also didn't want to be too far away from home. Yeah, what made me stay was like the community that I found here surprisingly. Like whether it's like my friends or people with my classes that I meet, like the TAs. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing. And then for our next question, we were wondering what being Tibetan means to you on campus. We could also take a second because it's like kind of a, yeah.
I definitely think also like it always obviously depends on where you are, but there are Tibetans like everywhere now, like, and it's kind of amazing. Like I didn't really think how many Tibetans or how big of a Tibetan community there would be like in Western Massachusetts, like, and there's so many like, and Smith College is a part of like a 5-college consortium, so it's like you have like a whole community at like UMass, like SFT is there, Mount Holyoke, Amherst College, like they teach Tibetan like language at UMass, and then at Smith College, like there aren't really like community wise, like at Smith, there aren't. I have not met, sadly, like, and it's by now like my junior year, but I haven't met another Tibetan student here. But I have like met a teacher out here who sometimes teaches classes at Smith. And I like contacted him and like we've been keeping in touch, and he's connected me to like the Tibetan community in Amherst and like Northampton, which is where Smith is. And like recently I couldn't go home for Losar, so I was like just here on campus. So I was invited to spend Losar in Western Mass. It was like a brand new thing, but I didn't know anyone, but it was great to just be around Tibetan people. And yeah, I think definitely, of course, again, depending on where you are, like trying to like connecting with other Tibetans if there are Tibetans on your campus, and sticking with them if possible, and trying to like network with them and staying connected. Yeah. Yes, consortium, yes. That's
What does being Tibetan mean to you on campus? That is a huge question. Um, I think at Emory, what I've tried to do is something similar to Sangay. Like there are 6 of us on campus who are students, and I've at least made the attempt to try and get close with all of them, and it has paid off. Like we go to like events together. But other than that, I think kind of like representing Tibetan culture for people who have never been exposed to it, don't even know what Tibet is. If people ask me like, oh, where are you from? I'll tell them I'm Tibetan. And sometimes they'll be like, what is that? And that's like an opportunity for me to kind of share all the positives about being Tibetan and giving them a very good first impression of what Tibetan culture is. I guess just spreading the awareness in that way. But yeah, I think that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, no, I would like second that. I think like in LA particularly, since it's such a big city, it can feel really lonely at times, especially being Tibetan. Just because I personally have not met another Tibetan on campus at all. And I think like any of the Tibetans who were here have already like graduated by now. So it does feel a little lonely at times, but I think as what Sering said earlier, that like it's kind of like our responsibility as Tibetans to kind of spread awareness in a way, like in everything that we do. So even with like simple introductions, I always give a brief history of Tibet if like the person I'm talking to doesn't like know about it. And I think the most like impact I've like done in terms of spreading awareness on Tibet has to be with like just my close friends who've never heard about like our country, and like are, you know, international students from like China or like Korea or whatnot, and you know, they just don't have the same like, I guess, awareness and curriculum that we do in terms of just like learning about like Tibet. And so I think I do like a similar thing. I just try to keep them aware and like, you know, kind of make them also be a little bit more like conscious about the stuff that they say and do in terms of like in respect to not only like Tibet but like other like countries that are like developing countries. And so yeah, I think being Tibetan is like being a constant teacher, but in a respectful, good way.
Yeah, I would say the same thing at MIT. I remember I was the only Tibetan for like 2 years. And then in my like junior year, I think two more freshmen started. So it was nice to like have that little trio for like a little bit. Um, we hung out a little bit, I remember. And I think in Boston, at least, there's a lot of like a big Tibetan community. So I was able to connect with like distant relatives and stuff there. So that was really nice. Um, there was like a small like Buddhist like Tibetan Buddhist like I guess like department or something. Um so it was nice to talk to them, and I tried to start a Buddhist like a Tibetan Buddhist club, but we did not get that much traction. Um but I think it was fun to start that with my friends and like get them to know about Buddhism and stuff. Um, yeah, I guess second, all the things about whenever you meet someone, they're always like, "Oh, your name is from like Avatar," and I'm like, "No, it's from the Dalai Lama." So I guess like that segues into like a lot of those teaching moments. Yeah.
For me, being Tibetan on campus, like when I came here my freshman year, I already knew of a couple Tibetans who'd be at Stony Brook, but me and my roommate, since she's also Tibetan, like we went out of our ways to like meet them or like connect with them. I remember there was like a Himalayan group me that someone made, and through that, like we just connected. And then they had a Himalayan club here, but it didn't get approved for last year because I don't think they put in like the application for the club, or it didn't get approved or go through. I'm not sure, but we still like did an impromptu like meet up, and I got to meet so much more people. And like because we're from like similar like cultural backgrounds, like it's just like we connect in a different way than opposed to like non-Himalayan people. So it's like nice to make those connections and friendships.
Yeah, definitely I feel that way too, about like how it is on campus. But like there's a couple of us here, so like we always just like we're like busy, but we try to make time for each other and like to do things like get food like during LSAR and stuff. So it's really nice to have that community. Um, and then for our next question, just like an honest, like what was the best and worst part of your college experience? Like as a whole or so far? Yeah.
I guess for me, the best part was definitely all the friends I've made, and like since I've graduated, I still uh, like made such like deep connections with my friends, like the struggle of college, so you get really tight with your friends, and I think that was definitely the best part for me. And then I would say the worst was probably how difficult the classes were, and how um, yeah, just like so much to do, not enough time, kind of. So yeah.
The worst part of college for me was my freshman year, because of COVID. I just was terrible. There was nothing to do. It was hard to meet people and everything, but that's definitely changed, as I've seen the past 2 years. Um, and my favorite part of college has just been meeting so many people, and kind of like seeing the growth of myself in the past 2 years slowly. Um, I think that's really like, I don't know, I feel very happy that I'm realizing that like I've grown as a person in the past 2 years in a lot of ways. Um, just by like trying to be passionate about the things that I want to be passionate about. So um, yeah.
I'll start with the worst part. It's definitely, again, being in Western Mass, like in the middle of nowhere, and then you have no car, and then you're from New York City, so it's like a big difference. Like, you need to drive everywhere, so that's definitely like a huge change in environment, and definitely something to take into consideration, whether or not you want to be in like some kind of like suburban area, or a city, a big city. But I've gotten used to it by now, and it is nice here and there. It's a nice change in scenery and environment. But at the beginning, it was quite hard, like even transportation wise at times, and you need a car, like, but overall, also at PWIs, like that food is like catered to white people. Like, it is catered to white people. There's no flavor. Like, just also, if you feel like you need really good food where you are, like, take that into consideration. Or if you can cook yourself, like, do that. But yeah. But other than that, I have enjoyed my time here. And although I have lost a year to COVID, I've tried to make the most out of it. And I think the best thing about like the liberal arts education is that I have like control over what, like, my educational path, and like what I like the classes I get to take here. And it is a very tight-knit community, and I've made a good amount of friends that I feel very close to. And yeah.
Oh, I would say like the worst part has to be like midterms, like because I'm a freshman currently, so I went through like my first round of midterms a couple months ago, and I think that was like the worst part of my college experience, because I've never taken an exam at a college before, and so I think it was extremely nerve-wracking, and I could just see the fear in everyone's eyes, especially because you'd go to the library to study, and all the freshmen that you knew were just constantly stressed out and like unaware of what they were getting themselves into. And so I think like definitely just going in kind of blind in terms of like not knowing what my exam was going to be, and overstudying to the max was actually an insane issue of mine. Because I would show up to the exam and it would be like 10 open-ended questions, and I was like, okay, did not have to study that hard. But yeah, definitely like going to college, take a good look at like your professors' reviews and like see what their style of teaching and like exams are. But I think the best part definitely is similar to everyone else, like friends, and like especially like the first couple of weeks on campus. I think is when I was like the most outgoing and kind of faking being an extrovert just so I can make friends. And I think it was an extremely like fun first couple of weeks because everyone wasn't stressed at that time. It was just like having fun, seeing the city around and like, yeah, trying new things.
And then unless someone else wanted to share, we can move on to the next question, if that sounds good.
Well, I just wanted to step in really quickly and put things into perspective regarding how we can use these answers as feedback for how we build our college lists. So of course there are cons that people have brought up so far, such as like hard access to transportation, hard classes, and hard midterms. Those are very tangible, and you can definitely consider that when you think about your preferences for building college lists. But then also on the pro side, you'll realize that a lot of these are dependent on what you make out of your college experience. So a lot of people said they've really enjoyed making friends, trying new things, and meeting many people. And these are benefits that come out of what you put into it. So that just goes to say that like the experience will, like, yes, you can dictate your experience based on where you go, but then it also depends later on what you make of it.
Definitely. And for our next question, we were wondering how we could make the most of our college experiences, or like how you felt that you made the most out of your college experience so far. Yeah.
So I think like school is like, I guess like you go like you guys have been going to school for like most of your life, so like you don't realize this unless you step out of it, that like that's the last time you get to just take classes that you want. Like anything you want to learn, you can. You can be like, oh, I want to learn Japanese tomorrow. Like, let me take that class. Like, you don't get that again. So I think that is something that was something I happily, hopefully, like realized. And I took like French for a while, and then I went to Paris for fun, like to like use French, like and I was really into like philosophy, so I like did a minor in philosophy. Like you don't get that again. Like you have to go to like buy a class, or you have to like go back to school, I guess, or maybe. But I think that's a one way you can really make the most out of your college experience. And then also there's just like so many resources like that are there for you. I mean, you paid for it, so you should use it. So like career help, and you have like this like alumni connection. So at MIT we had this like whole like alumni, and it's called like Infinite Connection or something. Like you can like email anyone. It was like a LinkedIn but like internally, and so you don't get that again. You have all these like connections to like career paths or companies that you want to work with like. So yeah, using all of your resources that you paid for. So
That is definitely a big one, especially for like, because most of these schools have a lot of money, and we should definitely take advantage of that while we're here. And get your bag, yeah, like get that bag. And like at Smith, like you have like emergency funding, or like medical funding, or like textbook funding, and like just knowing like and learning the ins and outs of your school and like the resources that they provide, like mental health resources or like academic resources. And yeah, and like depending on your like academic path, like there are people who like their literal jobs just actually help you, like guide you on that path. So yeah, and definitely just really taking advantage of those resources. And also it is just adding on to like what you said earlier, like this is like the one really like only chance where like we are like placed in like a community of like filled with like other people, and then we get to like, you should take that chance to just like network with other people and like meet new people, and also definitely like join clubs, like attend events, just get out there, like do what you have to do, like do what you got to do. Yeah, I don't know if there's like, but that's also like, that's just like how I personally also like took advantage or made the most out of my college experience. And also was also nice about liberal arts is like the freedom to like take whatever classes you want. Like you would have like astronomy majors taking like childhood education courses, like so we also have a lot of freedom with that. So
Yeah, definitely. And then sorry to interrupt, but like I kept thinking about it because of what was said about like college being like one of the last opportunities to like have like so much access to resources, but like even on like a community level, like it's like one of the few opportunities that you'll ever have to be surrounded by people your age, like going through the same things, like still figuring things out. So it's like
exactly.
you're in a community full of people that like
Exactly.
that just sort of get it. And then the fact that like most things on campus are walkable, like your
Exactly.
best friend might live like 2 minutes away from you,
Yes.
your gym is nearby, your library
Yeah,
there, like like
exactly.
it's like it's such a unique environment,
Yeah.
and I hope it's something that you guys are excited about. And then sorry for the interruption.
No, that's okay. No, that's definitely like something that my friends and I are constantly talking about, how it's like, when else do you get that chance, like to live right next door to your friend and walk down there, or like you have a freaking like library, like a big library to like, with all these resources, like just all these resources handed to you like right there. So definitely like just take advantage of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like most of the things to be said have been spoken about. Classes for sure, the diversity of classes you can take. Emory does offer that. I mentioned before, like the different clubs, like you can invest yourself a lot into these clubs and just get a lot back from it. But I think how I've made the most of my college experience is, um, I guess like being open to, I guess like a lot of different opportunities. In the sense that I don't know, like exploring the city, like hanging out with people that you might not really like at first glance want to hang out with. Um, I think overall, like I enjoy meeting new people. I see that one of the biggest strengths of coming to like a mostly predominantly white college is to kind of befriend a lot of people I otherwise would have never met, and kind of hear like what their side of the story is, and maybe educate them on where I come from and give them a different perspective, as well as teaching me a different perspective. So I think that has been my favorite part of college so far, meeting so many different people, and making friends about like with people like with such different people that I was not friends with in high school.
Yeah, I think like in terms of making the most of the college experience, it kind of like all comes down to like what mentality you have. Because I think as like first generation student and almost like all of us, I'm pretty sure, are like children of immigrants who like probably didn't have a lot of opportunities growing up, that there's a lot of self-doubt in your own worth as a student and like your capabilities. And I still struggle with that now, even though I'm like talking on it. But I think it's important to kind of just like not, I know it's really hard, but like to not have like imposter syndrome, and to like understand that like you deserve the opportunities that are being given and presented to you. And like wherever you end up, it's because somebody on the admissions team saw that you would be a great fit and that you had a lot of potential. So, it's best that you also see the same potential in yourself. and just don't be afraid to like apply for things that you think that are out of your reach, because a lot of times they really are not. And just by like going to college and like doing these extra applications that other people don't, like you're already ahead of the game. But yeah, just constantly go for new things and try your best.
I guess I forgot to say one thing. You guys should all do study abroad. Okay, you need to travel on someone else's dime. Okay, we must do it. And yeah, I did it for like, since we don't have like many study abroad like semester long things. I had like this winter thing. I went to like Georgia, the country, like that exists. Like it was fun to like expand your mind, see the world, not just go back to like Nepal or India and see your grandparents, like see something else, like a different culture. um yeah, I think that was the big thing. I think that was something else, but it's good. I'll try to remember it later.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And then I guess our next question is how did you find balance during college? Are you or not, or like have you found it? I know that personally, like I haven't been able to find it. But yeah.
That I am like on that like search right now. I'm still working on it. Like I'm on my third year already, so but it's fine. But I think recently I've just been like, what works for me is um uh like making like a schedule and like having a routine, like a daily routine, like just to like wind down like at night before you go to bed. Like we're like all working like tirelessly like throughout the day, like every day, constantly getting work done. And just having a little set routine for yourself to just like wind down and like relax, and like always just Google Calendar. Yes, like Google Calendar. I love Google Calendar. I'm always using Google Calendar, but uh I definitely have been prioritizing my sleep more. That is definitely, please, like we all should be doing. And yeah, I definitely also like yeah, just getting like having a routine for yourself, and finding things that you enjoy doing in your free time just to relax and like distract yourself, like something that's just not work related, school related. So definitely a good way to find balance. Yeah, and also like having a set group of like, or like a few friends, whether it's like one friend or two friends, like a few friends like that you feel comfortable with and like you do get along with. So yeah, I don't think that's it.
I think balancing is always such like, it changes semester by semester, like what you had to balance. And it's tricky to like figure it out so fast. But I think honestly, like as much as important as school is, it's sometimes okay to just like miss a couple of classes if it means that missing those classes will mean you get more rest to do your work the next, like for the rest of the week, right? Like this week I felt really tired on Monday, like I couldn't function. So I skipped my first two classes, and the rest of the week I was really productive because I took that break, you know? So like just not taking school too seriously, like it's not the end all be all, and you'll get through it. Like you just have to do what's best for your body. Going to the gym is really helpful. Go to the Buddhist club or yoga meditation club, whatever is at your school. Talk with people, like have coffee chats with people like that. You're not trying, your objective isn't to like network with them, but just like learn about them or something, just make a new friend, like stuff like that. There's so many opportunities for that. Um, and it like de-stresses you. Just I think stress is like the main problem.
I think that in terms of finding balance, like kind of similar to everyone else, like calendars are definitely my number one best friend at the moment. But I think also like finding balance is in part like you understanding like what you are like capable of doing within like a certain time span. And I think it's pretty easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing and like this like competition culture to always have to be doing a lot just because you see your friend. Yeah, exactly. And like you see your friends doing a bunch of classes, and on top of that, you see them doing like clubs and like part-time jobs and all of this like extracurriculars that you didn't know like you don't have yourself. And so I think like you might, well, I personally like try catching up and like getting all these extracurriculars in, but then I kind of fell victim to like overloading my schedule and realized like I had to drop a couple of things in order to do certain things successfully. So like I think definitely just prioritizing like your interests in terms of like what you do outside of the classroom as well. And just finding balance in terms of like time management and yeah, don't overload.
Yeah, I would say all the same. I think in like my worst times, I like scheduled hour by hour, like 30-minute chunks of like exactly what I'm doing since like the moment I wake up to go to sleep. Um, but for with me, that really helped. Like, so finding your own way of like um, scheduling or like planning out your life is good. I think I remembered what I wanted to say before. It is that you should also have fun. Like, make sure to schedule like fun things into your calendar too. For me, like I think at the beginning of the semester, like I had a lot of time, so I would just like hang out with my friends, like it's fine, whatever. But then as the time goes on, you know, more classes, you have more midterms, and like, you know, for final, like more projects, and so you like have less and less time for things, like just for hanging out. So I would force me and my friends to go out, like and have fun at least half of one day instead of studying on the weekend. Um, so we can made it into like our own like required schedule, like to have fun. And I think I remember, uh, yeah, that was yeah. And I think I want to say, okay, I don't know if I want to be a bad influence, but you guys should all party when you're young, okay? When you get older, like me, okay, going one night out will destroy you. Like I was sick this entire week. So you need to make uh the most out of your youth, okay? Obviously be safe and don't become an alcoholic. But you need to go out like now, okay? For the people who are in college. Okay, because when you get older, it gets really hard. So yeah, make most of your time having fun too and enjoying your youth, not just studying. Yeah, my horrible preaching. Sorry.
I think the two most important things that like college students obviously want to balance is like academics and then like social time or like just time to unwind, or time to relax, or time to yourself for yourself. And I feel like because for me, like I try also like every other study method or like time management method. I do like the Pomodoro study method. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. It's like I think you shouldn't like beat yourself too much if you like at the end of the day you're like, oh, like I was pretty unproductive today, because there's always the next day. And I feel like you don't have to like ultimately like find a perfect like work slash life balance. I feel like if you try every day harder, like you'll be fine. Like
Yeah, definitely. I like have a hard time like not being hard on myself like with that, but there's always tomorrow. Um, and then what's it called? So this last question is more so it might be more on your minds like as people like applying to college. But I guess so oh my God. We were wondering what advice you had in guiding our scholars through the college application process. So if we could have like a couple people sharing like how to manage it, but also like what approaches to take and stuff. Yeah.
definitely consider financial aid, like the kind of environment you like might want to be in. And obviously all of this is like what we've been saying, but like even like small things like food, community, and like how big of a school you want to go to, and like the programs that you might be interested in. And even if you don't know, it's fine. Like the location. Also like the biggest thing that like when I was applying was like the biggest, like there was so much pressure on like what like the test scores and like SAT, ACT, and it's like the main thing that, you know, schools are really looking out for, like who you are as a person, like your identity, and like so yeah. But yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself and try and find things that you feel like would work with you. So
Looking at college fit is really important. I think every college has a different personality, even if it's like in the same city or whatnot. I know Tenzilama talked about how USC feels really competitive. Emory doesn't feel that way. Like everyone's usually trying to help each other out, but it is really pre-professional. So you may like kind of compare yourself to like your peers, and they have like insane internships at like McKinsey and for like whatever like business like firm that they have, and they're like all over LinkedIn or whatever. But um looking at like whether you want a school with like a high sports culture, whether it's like you want people who like have fun, you know, like as Tenzin Fukyum said, like going out and stuff, or you want someone or like a school where like most people like tend to stay in and like are really dedicated in clubs and whatnot. Like figure those stuff out, research that, and yeah, check the culture, and decide where you want to end up at.
Yeah, and then I guess like more so in terms of like the college application itself, like I know that it doesn't open until like August, so you guys are good. Like there's not a lot to be like thinking about right now. I just this is like sort of unrelated, but like I based on like everything we've talked about today, I feel like it's a really good opportunity that you guys should look at. So we've talked about like what college life looks like and like our experiences about it, but obviously there isn't much time to experience it between now and college application time in August and so on. But something that was really helpful for me, like in seeing how college was the fly-in programs that a lot of universities have. A lot of like schools, or I'll send the link, but there's a lot of schools on that list that have fly-in programs where they will literally fly you out from wherever you are to stay on campus for like 2 or 3 days and connect with other like students similar to you, like same class year and everything, and like learn about on-campus resources and like what it's like to be a student on campus. But it's well before applications open that you can apply to this now. But yeah, so I just think that it's a really cool opportunity, and chances are like the schools that you might be thinking about right now are on that list, and it certainly does help you like become a better applicant. Like if you like took the time to go to a fly-in program like of the school, you also get a bunch of resources and cool perspectives. So definitely look at that. And then I'll drop my email in the chat if you guys like wanted help like applying to it. I'm more than happy to sit with you on that. So sorry about that little side thing, but I guess we wanted to open this up now to Q&A. So if anyone in the audience like had any questions based on what we are talking about, feel free to go and share. Oh, and if you would rather like me like say it for you, just like DM me it. Yeah. Okay. I just got one DM'd. It's how can you make college affordable for yourself and your family? Which is like a big question, but something that we're thinking about, I guess.
I think there are like certain schools that are like they have like merit-based scholarships or need-based scholarships. So luckily MIT is need-based, and so they pretty much like match they like scale the price of the school to how much your like family can pay. So that was really great for me. And then after that, like after like a first year or whatever, I used like my internship or like work money to like pay for the tuition myself. So that was like really great. Yeah. So, you know, doing uh jobs, but also like maybe applying to like scholarships if you have time to like look for those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I just got another question. How do you know what you want to major in a certain field? So like, how did you come to your major?
Just using freshman year to explore different departments. That's like key. I knew I wanted to be international studies when I came into college, which is what I stuck with, but I found sociology out of just exploring different classes. I was taking econ classes, like art history classes, like a lot of things trying to determine like what I want to do as like my double major. And eventually I landed on sociology because I took a really interesting class about race and ethnicity, and I love the professor. And then I talked with more professors in the department, and I liked them, so I ended up as a sociology major.
Yeah, and then I guess like something that you like highlighted is that um like you don't really need to know, and like I'm talking as a first year, so like I will sit down because like I still like don't fully know and I change my major every time, but like I guess like something that you might have been like thinking about more was like how can you like know your major like on in terms of a college application. And I guess like my advice to that is that like since you will have the time in college to decide like what like interests you most and develop it, then like just know that like your major will change most likely, as long as like you're not applying to a binding program or something. But in terms of like college applications, the major that you should like maybe like consider is like, well, like what you're immediately drawn towards, but then the second part is what like things have you done like in relationship to those majors that like prove, not, I don't want to say prove because that sounds like icky, but like have that provide evidence for your passion for that subject. So like it wouldn't make sense for me to like be a DECA kid and like do all the business things and then like say I wanted to apply to be a chemistry major. Like maybe like if I had like some like really like profound like life experience like within my family or a story to tell, like of course. But like if you're thinking about majors right now, like think about like what your like pre-professional like ambitions are, but also your like the classes that you've taken and enjoyed most, and what your activities um like say about all of that. Like it's all in combination with one another. And yeah, and then I'm sorry, there's another question too. If you didn't like a class in high school, would you recommend trying again or just dropping it when you get to college?
Maybe take a break from it, but definitely try again.
But also like don't sit through a class you know you don't like, if you like, because like you're like paying for it, so like make sure you're taking only the things that like really like interest you. Or it's different like with like gen ed requirements where you might have to take that class again, but there's always workarounds like taking an easier math class if you really hated math, to get the requirement. So like there's definitely workarounds, but don't waste your time like in a class you know you don't like, because it's never worth it. and I'm speaking from experience because I'm in Calc 2 right now and I don't know what's happening. So yeah. Did anyone have any other questions? Oh, someone put it in the chat, so feel free to. Oh, okay. Yeah, someone was asking like if the like AP or like college level classes that you took like in high school, if you had access to them, like were helpful, like in terms of your college experience.
Yeah, I took a bunch of APs and they were like helpful in that I think they let me skip some of my like gen ed requirements or general requirements, or I could take like a harder level of the general requirements like calculus and physics and stuff like that. Yeah, they were helpful, even though I guess you couldn't like use them for the whole class, but yeah.
And then like at more at other universities too, like AP credit like is huge because like my friend like carried so much over and like was able to graduate like much earlier and save her family a lot more money. So that's something else that you could be thinking about, like too, like when you're looking for colleges, like will they accept all of the credits that you've taken, like if that's something that you want to do. Yeah. And then did anyone have any other questions? Oh, okay. Would you recommend getting a job in college? And if so, which year? But I also feel like which semester is important too.
I would
Um,
definitely- You go.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Mine is pretty quick. I would recommend getting a job. And a job could be anything from like an internship to a part-time like on-campus job. And like I just think it's important to like what Dinda said, to like know which semester. So like my first semester in college, I don't recommend it just because you're still like figuring out all the ropes to things. So don't like try and pull off a million things at once and do a part-time job on top of that, unless it's like actually financially like necessary for you to. But yeah, like I think spring semester of like freshman year is like when I started working. So I think like it's definitely possible, and I do recommend it's a good experience to get in as well.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think getting a job on campus would be, and like, and it also depends on whether or not like you feel like you do need it, and also, I also just depending on like what kind of job opportunities they have on campus, but like, you get pretty cool like work experiences, and then when you are back at home, like you're just like you just have this on your resume, like as a barista, or like I work with like at the elementary school on my campus, and it's like through my work study, so it just I get paid for that, and then I also do get experience, so it's just it's like, and it's also it's like why wouldn't they give you the job, like you're just your students there, so it's easy money and like easy job. But yeah, I definitely do recommend if you can and are considering it.
So I think you brought up like a really interesting point. There's like there's two sides to getting a campus job. So on one side you have like the people who work at libraries, and then you'll see them and you'll be like so jealous of them because they'll just like be sitting behind the library counter and they'll just be doing their work, and they're getting paid for that. But
Yeah.
when you put that on your resume and you show it to an employer, that's going to be different from like a research job that you might have on campus, where like
Exactly.
you actually had to use I'm not saying that you don't need to be cognitively present for library jobs, but
Yeah.
like something that just like trains you a little bit more.
Exactly. Also, like that's like a recommendation letter right there. Like whoever hired you, like, or someone you worked with, like you're already just networking right there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then if anyone had any other questions, like feel free to unmute or just DM me again. But then do we want to move over to Roka tours?
Let's just like have like a last call for questions.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
about that?
I was wondering if you like ACT or SAT scores helped you get any good scholarships.
I could quickly answer that one. Like yeah, like yes, because like a lot of like public universities, like they take that into account when considering you for merit scholarships, and that could mean anything from like the presidential scholarship available at like a lot of like public universities that like provide so much like aid. I think that like in that respect it's really important. And then but it's also helpful like when you're applying for local and national scholarships outside of colleges, like you do take it into account like what your test scores and grades were. And so like in that respect, like it's important. But yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
And then someone just asked, is a recommendation from a current employer useful in any form when applying to college? So okay, I can also really quickly answer this one. I worked at a flower shop for 2 years. And I asked my boss to like write it because like I had that relationship for 2 years. And I wanted to like highlight that like I was someone that was like curious about like biology and all of that. So like that's someone I asked, um and I thought it was valuable because what's it called? Because it showed like I was able to like manage a job like while like being a student, and I thought like that was something that was important to my high school experience that I wanted communicated to like people reading my file, I guess, or application. I don't know if I said file. But I guess like in terms of recommendation, make sure it's someone that you've had a like decently like important relationship with for a decently long amount of time. Like don't ask for a letter rec if you just like started working for them like a month ago, unless it's like a really meaningful experience to you both. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. And then someone just asked, should we submit SAT scores if the college we're applying to is test optional? And yeah.
I think that like when applying to USC, I went test optional and I did test optional for like most of my applications. And definitely like I think I forgot the exact name, but there's like a public like database for all like universities online somewhere, and it pretty much gives you all the statistics on like acceptances, and they'll go in depth in like demographics and like even whether they submitted test scores or not, and like what the test scores range was. And so if you're seeing like the colleges that you're applying to have an emphasis on like accepting students who have submitted their scores, then if you're pretty confident in your scores, then of course like do submit. But if you're not, like do take that into consideration, because I found that like I went test optional for schools who actually really valued like SAT scores and ACT scores. And so it's definitely just like doing your research and like figuring out like what each school emphasizes. So yeah.
Yeah, and definitely like only submit it like if you know that it's going to be like of benefit to your application. Then just like recommended like don't submit it unless you're above like the median score. But I say like about, because like I was like slightly below, but like I just like submitted it like to have it there on file. But I guess like in the larger context of your application, like your test score like isn't truly that important. Like so like they care so much about like all the other things, like your academic record up until applying, like what you're interested in, like what your story is. So like don't get too caught up, but also like don't miss this opportunity to make yourself a more competitive applicant or to colleges, but also scholarships. And then someone just DM'd me like if supplementals are recommended when applying to supplemental wait, what? Oh, I think they're asking about supplemental like letters of recommendation when applying to college. Like could you clarify? Because like definitely write like the supplementals for your colleges, the additional essays, because that's like a big red flag if you don't write those mini essays. And then like supplemental letters of recommendation, definitely consider if you have had like important experiences outside of like your classroom that like you want your mentor, for example, to like write about and represent on your application. And then I think that was the last question, unless like someone else had something else.
Well, if you guys do have any questions, then you're always free to email us mentorshipropa@gmail.com. I have the email on my phone, and if it's an easy question, then I'll answer within 10 to 30 minutes. Okay, I hope you guys know where we're about to go next. Hope you're excited for that. Well, just quickly giving you guys where we are on the timeline. We've just finished our third workshop, and these are the two that you should be expecting in the coming weeks. Very exciting stuff, but even more exciting stuff is so Ropa Tours, we're really happy to announce this initiative that we're working on. We've got like a pretty solid college roster here. These are the options that you can choose from, and I know it's mainly East Coast dominated, and we have like one West Coast school, but we're hoping to expand that in the coming years. But we've talked a lot about like college experiences so far, and you don't really like fully understand it until you get to the campus itself. So that's what we're trying to address with this program here. Should be really fun. We have the option to stay overnight, and also we're gonna send out an email right after this meeting with a form of interest and to like just like show that you want to do this, and then from there on we can provide more details. I want to open it up to any questions that you guys may have regarding the program, because I know that it's something totally new and you probably have questions. Unmute yourself, put it in the chat. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge the level of enthusiasm here. So like, just like, I don't know, put up like an emoji or something.
Yay.
Thank you. Who said that? Okay, it doesn't matter. Thank you for that. Okay, and
Well, you can give them a mini snapshot of what this will entail.
okay, so snapshot. Okay, well, you'll be matched with one of our trusted Ropa affiliates at these colleges, and they will host you overnight, of course, to your discretion. And you'll have like a list of activities that are designated to help you understand and explore the campus. And well, not just that, but like you also have the chance to meet one of these ROPA board members and have fun with them. Of course, there are limitations to how much fun you can have, but like we're still setting this up in a very exciting way. I'm not sure if you have anything to add, Sal.
Yeah, I think you summarized it well. Not much on my end, but essentially it's just more of a way to, I think a lot of college tours do exist out there. And what we're providing is a little bit more of an intimate glance of, what the college student life is like. But not just like any college student, but like a Tibetan college student, and possibly someone you might be joining in the next fall. But yeah. Not next fall, the fall after, the fall when you go to college. But yeah. So any questions you may have, you can get them out of your way right now. But obviously then we'll send that email with more information after. The tour, when?
Okay, yeah. So these tours are designated as 2-day trips, really, and they fall within that week between April 8th and April 16th. From what we've noticed, that's like around the time where most of the spring breaks for high school are. Just correct me if I'm wrong, or like thumbs up, I guess. But that's what we've based it upon.
Also, we have like an itinerary planned, or like a rough idea of like how we would want it to look like. But obviously, like that's with the assumption that like these things will be useful to you guys. So if you guys have any things you particularly want to see in these respective schools, please let us know. But some of the activities include like attending a class with your host, or visiting like local stores nearby, or going to studying at the library together, stuff like that.
Yeah, we also have a scavenger hunt. We're not gonna reveal the prize yet, but like should be something fun. We've like tried to go ballistic with the range of ideas that we've had with possible points. But it should be helping you not just get a good idea of the college's campus and the life on campus, but also just like to get to know your mentor a little, or not mentor, your host a little bit more. And yeah, again, we'll send out the form right after this meeting, so be on the lookout for that email. And I think that's about it on our end. If you have any questions, you're free to stay behind and ask them one-on-one. And I think that's it. Well, thank you again to all of our panelists. Thank you again for just like, I know some of you guys, 2 of you guys are waking up at like 8 a.m. in the morning to come join us and talk to us about what your college experience has been like so far. And of course, we all really appreciate that. And all of the information that you guys have provided will definitely play a part in how you all approach your college application in the upcoming few months. So yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any questions, then you're free to stay back and ask. If not, you're free to go. Thank you, and we'll see the Robo Scholars again next week for another workshop.
Bye, guys. Have a nice day.
I had a question about the financial assistant part of the